YouTube channel memberships. And the best way to get more money is to save it with Coopert, the sponsor of today's video. Coopert is a free browser extension designed to save you money when you're shopping online by using AI to search the internet for discount codes and coupons and automatically testing and applying them at the checkout page. Coopert is super easy to install and use, and it works on pretty much all of the internet browsers, even if you're a total weirdo who uses Microsoft Edge. You sick freak. Before you make your purchase, Coopert's price comparison feature will automatically check other online retailers to see if anyone else is selling your item at a lower price. These earbuds cost over $250 on Amazon, but Coopert found them for sale somewhere else and saved me over $90. How is this possible? Just wait, it gets better. Coopert offers cashbacks. Just activate the cashback feature before checking out, and Coopert will return a portion of the commission straight to your PayPal, bank account, or gift cards. Doesn't this sound a little too good to be true? I hear you thinking. Nope. Coopert is used and trusted by 6 million people on desktop and 3 million on mobile, for a total of a lot of people who use and trust this service every day of their lives. Smarter shoppers use Coopert, so install it today and start shopping smartly, like me. Thank you to Coopert for sponsoring this video.
Okay, I made some.
Coming from the folklore of Southeast Asia, the Krasu is said to be the demonic spirit of a woman who committed various evil acts in her life, such as infidelity, murder, or drinking the last of the chalky milk. After she dies, the woman's sins cause her to be reborn as the demonic Krasu, which appears as a woman during the day and can walk among humans unnoticed. By night, however, the Krasu is able to detach its head from its body and fly off into the night with all of its internal organs dangling from its neck. The heart, liver, lungs, stomach, intestines, and the rest all out on full display. The Krasu's favorite midnight snack is, unfortunately for you, the flesh of humans. She'll fly around in search of unsuspecting children and, when she can get them, pregnant women, cause it's a 2-for-1 special. Though sometimes she'll just extract the fetus and go. You can protect yourself from this creature by putting up some spiky fences or plants to guard your house, as the Krasu's dangling organs might get stuck in them. If the head cannot return to its body by daybreak, the creature will burn up in the sunlight. The legendary Vitala are evil spirits coming from Hindu mythology. They're said to haunt cemeteries and, with no physical body of their own, they can take possession of human corpses in order to interact with our three-dimensional world. Once they've acquired a body, they get up to all kinds of unsettling mischief, such as killing children, driving people mad, and causing miscarriages. Basically a typical weekend's activities for me, but whatever. These spirits do evil things because they are the tormented human souls of those caught in the space between life and the afterlife, with nowhere to go from there unless someone performs their funerary rites to set them free. However, most people are more inclined to try to capture these spirits, as existing outside the laws of space and time, they have a vast knowledge of the past, present, and future, and deep insights into human nature, and so they make great slaves for sorcerers. As always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Alex, and I am really smart. Until next time, farewell!
Outside in rainforests, there's tons of random objects like this rock, which when you flip them, you'll find life you would have never known existed. This first one just had a bunch of random insects, but in this video, I'll be flipping 100 different rocks in the Puerto Rican rainforests to find all sorts of weird lizards, venomous spiders, and even crazy snakes you've never seen before. However, right now, I'm still pretty close to a city, but as I travel deeper and deeper into the rainforest, the animals get cooler and cooler. And maybe at the end, we'll even be able to find extremely rare ones. And so I made my way over to object number 2, and literally right under the piece of wood was this insane alien looking creature. They're called tailless whip scorpions, and I've actually made entire videos about keeping these guys as pets. It's crazy we already found something this weird and rare. So I continued exploring. Eventually I came across object number 3, which underneath had this weird looking white worm thing. But in fact, this is not a worm at all. It's a baby beetle. Basically, over time, these little larvas will start to mutate and eventually will break out of their shell and become a beetle. And this one is absolutely massive. So it's probably going to turn into some giant mutant rainforest beetle with a massive horn. Hopefully we'll find one of those later. But anyways, I went and flipped rock 4, which had nothing underneath. From now on, I'm not going to show anything with nothing, so it'll just be constant cool rainforest animals. And that's exactly what I found with rock number 7, because underneath was this weird white thing in a hole. But after moving around the dirt a bit, I realized this was actually a wolf spider's home. And that massive white thing, well, that's its egg sac, and soon it'll hatch into hundreds of mini spiders. You can see the spider mom was super defensive and did not leave the egg sac at all. So I put her home back and kept exploring. Soon after, I came across the next object, which when I tried to flip it, well, it kind of broke apart in my hands. And this happened because if you take a closer look on here, there's tons of these little white bugs crawling all over it. These are termites, which you probably already know eat wood like this. They'll literally just set up their entire colonies inside of these dead logs and just eat them from the inside out. Now, under object number 10, I found the coolest thing so far. See, on the bottom side of the log, I saw this little tail thing poking out from under the bark. At first, I thought it was some sort of worm, but if you look closely, you can see it has a bunch of tiny little scales on it, so it can't be a worm. So there was only one thing to do. Get out the backpack. You see, in the backpack, I've packed tons of items to be able to interact with the wildlife out here. And the first item we're taking out is these tweezers. Using the tweezers, I started to peel back some of the bark on the log until I eventually revealed the animal. It really looks so much like a worm, but you can tell by how it was slithering around that it was actually a snake. These are called Brahmini blind snakes, and they're the smallest species in the whole world. Basically, this species spends their whole life underground just like worms do. And a fun fact about them is they're all female. Basically, they have the ability to clone their genes into an egg, and that's how more snakes are born. So if you ever see one of these in the wild, just know it has the same exact genes as this one does. It's pretty crazy. Now, by this point, I reached my first little water section of the trail, which was absolutely beautiful. Well, dang, I don't really know if you can hear me, but it's a pretty nice area as you can see. But basically, I just want to see if I can see something under the water with the GoPro. Now, obviously, GoPros are waterproof, which lets me do this. And at first, it was kind of just a cloudy mess, but then this fish came out of nowhere. Knowing that there was at least one fish down here, I put the camera back under and figured out that there was a whole school of them. However, since the water was so cloudy, I couldn't really tell the species, so I walked down alongside the river for a little bit until it got a bit clearer, and then I stuck my GoPro underneath again. This time, there was even more of those same fish, and now I could clearly see that these were mountain mullets, which are a species native to these Puerto Rican rainforests. You see, this species is really cool because they actually are born in oceans. And once they're born, they swim up the rivers into Puerto Rico to get to these remote rainforest streams. Then, when it's time to lay eggs, they swim back to the ocean and repeat the process. It's very cool. Also, by the way, right next to these fish were a ton of these little aquatic snails, which are super important for the environment because they eat up all the algae. Anyways, a bit later, I came across this rock with a little lizard sitting on top. When I got close, it of course ran away, but I figured this was a good omen, so I flipped it, and underneath there was nothing. But since that lizard was sitting on top of the rock, I figured that underneath of it could actually be its home. So I had an idea, and I got out the backpack, and inside I took out this little container of super worms. Then I basically put a bunch of them onto my hand and just put them under the rock in case the lizard wanted to eat some of them. Now, I was just gonna leave them and walk away, but then I noticed that that same exact lizard that was sitting on top of the rock had actually already ran over and ate one of the worms. And yeah, he was enjoying it a ton. You're welcome, buddy. There's more where that came from. And speaking of lizards eating stuff, nearby I also went and flipped this rock that had nothing underneath, but out of the corner of my eye, I noticed another lizard. And this guy instantly went on the run and started parkouring across the rocks to get away from me. But eventually, I did get a closer look and realized this was a green anole lizard, and it looked like there was something actually massive in its mouth. And the thing sticking out of its mouth kind of looked like the belly of another lizard, which would make sense because these green anole lizards are cannibalistic killers. And when they're hungry, they'll just straight up eat their friends. Yeah, talk about fake friends, am I right? Anyways, a bit later, I flipped this rock here, and underneath, I found my first ant colony. You see, ant colonies are a bit rarer in rainforests like this, which is why I didn't see any up to this point, so it was a kind of cool find. And then the rock I flipped right after also had another ant colony of the same exact species. Now, I'm pretty sure this species is called big-headed ants, which I can tell because as you can see, some of the workers have massive heads that are like 3 times the size of normal workers. This happens because at birth, the normal worker ants find the biggest and strongest pupa and spray a special pheromone on them. Then as the pupa grow older and older, they just grow up with massive heads and help move around some of the larger stuff that the small workers can't. In this case, the big-headed workers were helping move the eggs back underground since I moved their rock. Sorry guys, let me put that back. Now by this point, I was starting to get deeper into the rainforest, so we should start to expect the animals to get cooler and cooler. And that was actually shown because the very next thing thing I flipped had a proper snake behind it. But as you can see, it was a little bit camera shy because it instantly slithered into the bushes before I could get a good look. So I got out the backpack, and inside I packed this snake hook. Basically, people use these snake hooks to pick up deadly venomous snakes so they don't get bit. And obviously I didn't want to get bit, so using the hook, I started to dig around in the grass it slithered into and tried to look for it. But unfortunately, the hook just ended up breaking.
Bruh, it broke. Oh my gosh.
But this was a good sign for cool rare animals, and trust me, we'll be finding more snakes very soon. Now, the next rock I flipped had this weird little fuzzy worm under it. Now, even after searching online, I couldn't really figure out what this is. I thought it could be like a moth cocoon, but I'm pretty sure those only grow on trees, so comment if you know what this is. But behind that crawled out this little bug, which, oh, I have experience with these guys a lot. These are called